when you were here for your confirmation, we talked about your so-called enemies list. It appears to me that there have been adverse actions of various kinds taken against about 20 of the 60 people on your enemies list. You've been in office for 7 months. At that rate, you've got 14 months until you've hit all 60. Can you explain that?
Again, that is an entirely inaccurate presupposition. I do not have an enemies list. You can continue to characterize it as you wish. The only actions we take, generally speaking, for personnel at the FBI are ones based on merit and qualification and your ability to uphold your constitutional duty. You fall short, you don't work there anymore.
Well, there was a list. You don't like it to be called an enemies list, and it had about 60 names, and about 20 have had an adverse action. So those are, I think, pretty clear facts. Let me move on to your grand jury testimony, which we also talked about when you were here. I think you indicated that you understood that a witness in the grand jury is free to discuss afterwards whatever they told the grand jury. And you then went on to suggest, saying, I can't go into court orders granted by the D.C. District Chief Judge, and you want me to violate a court order. In those remarks, you fairly plainly suggested that there was a court order of some kind that somehow restricted or limited your ability to discuss your own testimony to that grand jury. Since then, that chief judge that you mentioned, Judge Boasberg, has written, and I'm quoting him here, Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6E allows witnesses like Patel to divulge the contents of their testimony, meaning that nothing was preventing him from doing so before the committee. Can we confirm here today that there is no court order of any kind that limits your ability as a witness before the grand jury to discuss your own testimony to that grand jury?
We can confirm that pursuant to my action that grand jury testimony has been released, the transcript.
Let's, in what forum was it released, may I ask?
Publicly.
Okay, we'll check.
In this tense exchange, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse confronted Patel about the alleged enemies list within the FBI, a topic that has been swirling in public discourse for months. Whitehouse is pressing Patel on a concrete number. Out of roughly 60 names on this list, about 20 individuals have allegedly faced adverse actions during Patel's first 7 months in office. By highlighting these numbers, Whitehouse is framing a timeline, subtly pointing out that if the current rate continues, all 60 could be impacted in just over a year, which makes the situation feel urgent and potentially systematic. Patel, as expected, immediately pushes back, rejecting the premise of an enemies list entirely. He reframes the conversation around merit and qualifications, saying that any personnel action within the FBI is tied to upholding constitutional duties, not personal vendettas. This response is typical in high-profile congressional hearings, where officials often attempt to diffuse politically charged language while asserting procedural legitimacy. However, the persistence of the senator keeps the narrative focused on potential patterns of retaliation, a concept that resonates deeply with viewers concerned about accountability in federal institutions. The conversation then shifts to Patel's grand jury testimony, specifically the bounds of what he could discuss publicly. Whitehouse references Patel's earlier statements, suggesting that court orders limited his ability to disclose details, which raises questions about transparency. The revelation from Judge Boasberg that Federal Rule 6E allows witnesses to discuss their own testimony directly challenges Patel's prior claims. By confirming that there were no restrictions, it underscores a key point. Patel had the ability to speak more openly than he initially indicated. For the audience, this moment highlights the complex interplay between legal restrictions, public statements, and institutional transparency. For viewers, the key takeaway here is understanding how congressional oversight functions, especially in politically sensitive contexts. It's not just about whether an official did something right or wrong, but about how accountability, legal frameworks, and communication intersect to shape public perception. The enemies list allegation, whether substantiated or not, serves as a case study in evaluating claims critically and understanding procedural nuance. This exchange also emphasizes the broader lesson: transparency in public office requires not just compliance with the law, but also clear, forthright communication. When discrepancies arise between what officials can say and what they do say, public trust is tested. It's a reminder for viewers to look beyond headlines, seek context, and question narratives, even when they come from positions of authority. If you want to follow along with the ongoing oversight of federal institutions and see how transparency, or the lack thereof, impacts governance, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This isn't just political theater, it's about accountability and understanding how power is exercised in real time.